should have probably put them last, but somehow they went up first. GFR90, which everybody knows GFR is glomerular filtration, right? Wearable artificial kidney from Norm Tiffin. Tiffin?
Yes.
Tiffin. I can't see very well. Okay, so you should see his screen. And Norm, if you're there, you've got 5 minutes as soon as you start talking.
Great, thanks, Alex. Appreciate that.
You might want to speak up a little, Norm.
Okay, is this better?
I think so.
Okay. I don't have to review very much with this group, the normal kidney function, but it's a setup to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And you recall that balancing fluid, removing toxins, and electrolyte balance are the three things that the kidney most does. There's endocrine functions there and a few other things. But you have to keep that in mind because those are the three things that we're trying to emulate when we introduce our product. So when you go through normal hemodialysis, 2 to 3 times a week, some do 4 times a week to get more fluid off, it creates problems in and of itself. As some of you may know, dialysis is prolonging a life, but the quality of life, the mental health of that person, the medical outcomes are extremely poor. And this has been shown a number of times, but basically what you see is an increase in fluid, and then you go see dialysis and the fluid drops dramatically, then it increases over the next 2 or 3 days and drops again. And really the kidney does obviously a better job because it does it continuously instead of 4 or 6 hours over every 2 or 3 days. So you get this up and down, which if you can eliminate that up and down, then you get back to the kidney function that is better for you medically and from a health wise and less expensive too. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to get continuous dialysis that mimics the kidney. To improve all of those things. Now, this is a well-understood problem. Certainly, if you're a nephrologist, you know a lot about it. If the FDA in 2012 said that if you can solve this problem, we will fast-track your program through the FDA. And just last year, in 2019, the White House came out with a presidential order. And the second piece of that, it was all dialysis. The second goal they had was in 2025 to have 80% of new patients on home dialysis. And we have that solution. So there's about 800,000 North American dialysis patients. Most of those, as you may recognize, are in the United States. And most of this comes from diabetes and high blood pressure, which are quite prevalent and increasing about 45% annually. The addressable volume is in the whole market, and the whole market's about $61 billion in North America, doubled that, but that's about half of the world. So doubled it for the rest of the world. And if you take 15 to 20%, you get about a 9 to 12% billion addressable market. And we've actually done some research in the last couple of weeks, and that 15 to 20% looks a little low, to be honest with you. Most nephrologists are saying, yeah, we're more like 1/4 to 1/3 of all dialysis patients can benefit from this. So that number's a little bit higher. So what are we trying to do with our device? The three things that the kidney tries to do itself: continuous removal of fluid, continuous removal of toxins, and continuing balancing of electrolytes. And so instead of this up and down green sawtooth pattern, we hope to make it the dash pattern, or at the very, very least, we hope that maybe once a week you will have to go into dialysis in a clinic. Hopefully you don't have to at all, but that's the end goal with this. So those three things are the three things that we're trying to do: fluid removal, toxin removal, and electrolytes. We're doing this in 2 phases. The fluid removal and the toxin removal come in the first phase best. So that comes out within 1.5 years of funding. We've done it on human blood. Clinical trials were supposed to start, and COVID hit the exact same week. The good news is...
Please mute yourself, somebody.
The good news is that COVID is not very prevalent here in Ontario. So we are going to be starting up these clinical trials again very soon, and we'll have results by Christmas. We hope to launch that by the 3rd year, preferably at the earlier part of the 2nd year. Phase 2, however, includes electrolytes. And of course, it'll be FDA fast-tracked as will the first one, and we hope to launch it in 5 years. That's the electrolyte piece that's really, really complicated. And the fluid removal and the toxin removal are the 2 pieces that most people would benefit most from. So that's why we're trying to do this in 2 phases. And we'll be successful with the phase 1 very soon. So both are a vest. You wear it over your shoulders, the battery's in back, the function takes place in the front, and we will have replaceable cartridge configuration such that your vest you probably buy a vest once a year. And the cartridge, every time it has blood in it, has to be replaced every time you want to restart it. So if you
30
use this,
seconds left.
how much?
30 seconds.
Holy jumping Josies. Okay. So payers, practitioners, patients, you probably all guessed that this is going to be very beneficial for all three of those groups. And as you know, for medical device, those three of those are important. The upside of this is rather large. The orange there is the consumable phase 2 revenue. And we've since updated that with our new numbers. It's over $1 billion in year 6 for revenue. We do have intellectual property. We have 4 patents that have yet to be issued, but we have first to market advantage as well.
All right, that's 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll just leave this slide up.
Okay, I'll ask the first question. Tell me about your team.
I'm sorry?
Tell me about your team.
Okay, so there's myself. I've been doing medical devices for
Go to the other slide. Go to the
25
slide with the
years.
team.
There's another slide, yeah.
Go to the team slide.
Do we skip it?
Back 2.
Okay.
There you go. Go ahead.
All right, so our CEO has done several entrepreneurial plays in technology and finance. I've introduced several of my devices to the market. I was a respiratory therapist years ago, went into research, been investing and working with medical devices pretty much all my life. Gord Campbell is our PhD. He's a biomechanical engineer. He's the one that developed the device. And Robert Lindsay is our nephrologist. He's the guy that came up with the idea 5 years ago, and we've been working on it since that time. He's got a great network, which we're going to leverage.
And what's the other slide you had there that we didn't get to?
That's our ask. So we're currently doing a development phase. We're pretty much funded for that. But the Series A is a $1.4 million US for our first year of operations to build out our organization.
Okay, let's let other mentors ask questions.
Can you show a picture of the vest?
Oh yeah, we'd see the prototype.
Say that again.
Let's see the device, the vest, the prototype.
I don't have a picture of it here. We wouldn't show you the technology anyway.
Oh, we'd show up with a prototype. Okay.
Sorry, not going to happen.
Hey, Norm, this is Rohini. Quick question.
Yeah.
What about your competitors?
Yeah, there's 2 competitors that are probably most prominent that we know of. There's University of California, San Francisco has been working on their vest for 16 years. They've been radio silent for 2 years. We haven't heard a thing from them. They've been looking for money for a long time, and they just disappeared off the map. There's another group down the highway from us, from Kitchener, Ontario, called Kidney. They're working on an implantable. And they're well off of our timeline, but we're actually in their side. We want that to happen, but it's not going to.
You're about to end your time. Quick question, Norm. Can you just go back to your revenue and then tell us revenue versus profit, if you have a decent understanding of that yet?
Yeah, we have a forecast of it that's based on. Let me see if I can find it here. That's based on the percentages of what we think we can do in the marketplace, and it's quite conservative. It's less than 5% of the market after 5 years, and you can see there's 6 years. In the second or third year, in the second year, we introduced the first vest, and 5th year we introduced the second vest. That's why there's different colors here. So that 211 is a
That's in year 6.
net income. Pardon me?
Year 6.
Year 6 is net income, and that's based on figures that need to be updated in the last 2 weeks. Again, we've got better numbers, and they're much higher.
Hey, Norm, great job. This is Paulo. Just curious, you're asking for money for a year. You're not launching and generating revenue until year 3. Why such a small ask now versus take the cash you need to get it to launch?
Yeah, we could do that. It's just because it represents the first year. That's the reason we divide it up into those 3 tranches.
Are there key, forgetting the calendar, are there key milestones that you're looking to hit with the first round of cash?
Yes.
Like working prototype or whatever, like what's the?
We have a working prototype. That's not an issue. We're going into clinical trials with that. We want to bring in a bunch of engineers to make it smaller, faster, lighter, power efficient, and those types of things to work us towards a production model.
And what's the biggest hurdle between, from a clinical impact perspective, what you're trying to accomplish? What's your biggest hurdle or 2 between now and launch?
Well, we think FDA is always a hurdle, no matter how much they say that they're going to fast track whatever you're going to do. You can't ignore them. And we have yet to get together with them and negotiate a clinical path, clinical research path, at least anyway. I think the cost of clinical research is extremely high. And it's not included in our costs because we think we can do it with grants here in Canada. So that's going to be a hurdle as well.
Where are you doing your clinical trials?
They'll almost always be in Canada for the first little while, just because our nephrologist is so well known here in Canada that he can open any door for us. But eventually we will have to go to the States. I don't think there's much doubt about that.
Heather, we have any time left?
No, we're out of time.
Wait, hold on,
No,
stop,
we still have 32
Okay.
seconds.
Okay, quick question. Can you, since you're not showing us a prototype, can you at least describe how the vest interacts, something about how the vest interacts with the dialysis machine, or what?
Yeah, sure. Well, so the vest is the dialysis machine, and it actually hooks up to the veno-venous, catheters that a person already has because they're already going through dialysis. So you just simply put the vest on, you hook up your blood, you turn it on, and away you go. Go watch a baseball game, go vacuum the house, whatever you want to do. That's the whole idea.
Okay, so it's the
That's
next generation dialysis machine. Okay.
Yeah.
Would